episode. Question is, what are we chasing? Are we chasing this? Are we chasing this? Or neither? Put it in the comments of what your view is. I've got something super special happening this evening. So you got to make sure you stick around so you get all of this, because I'm actually going to be giving something away for free. I need to actually sort that out actually still. Yeah, just going to give away something for free. But first of all, I just want you, whoever's watching this, first of all, start tagging some people in it. So Louise, you start tagging some people. Share this on your timeline as well. We will be giving away, for the people who qualify, we're going to pick at random people who share this on their timeline and they tag at least 10 people. All of those people, at the end, we're going to pick from them and we're going to give you the opportunity to take something straight from the real life store, the online store. You know, phone cases, cups, mugs, you know, blankets, all types of clothing. And that's across the whole brand as well, real life. You know, there's sayings on them, keep you motivated, keep you inspired. And all the real life creative construction merchandise is also out as well. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, awesome to see you on here, Lewis. Lewis, start tagging some people. Just tag like crazy. Give them the opportunity to be here. Because right now I want to ask a question that is quite awesome. And that question is, guys, I want you to type in the comments, like, what are three of your values? What do you value in life? Just comment the three in one comment, just so they're all together. So like from each person, just what are your top three values in life? What do you value the most in life? Now, why I'm asking to people to do this, I just want to say, for the people, there's a few different types of people on here. This is one type of person that they are not going to write down these top three values. Why? Because they don't even know what they are. Yeah, the other set of people that are not going to write them down in these comments, they are the people that just keep you know, like criticizing maybe, or maybe feeling bad that they don't get these values, that nobody, or that there's not enough people that exude these values in their kind of circle. Yeah, and then you got the other type of person that is going to put it down because they don't have any fear whatsoever of people. Oh, by the way, that's the other type of person that is not going to write it down. They're too concerned that, oh, someone sees my name commenting on this video. Oh my goodness, they're going to think, what are they going to think of me? They'll be able to tell everything about me from these values. I mean, that may be true, it may not be true. But first of all, I just want you to put it down there. So yeah, awesome, good job, Lewis. You know, family, time, and health. That's what you value the most. Yeah. Interesting. This is beautiful. I just want people to put it down, because at the end of the day, if you're not able to put this down and put it out to the universe, how can you expect to get it? How can you expect to receive it? How can you expect to be, you know, like surrounded by it if you don't know what it is? Two, you're too fearful to put it down because what other people might think. Or three, that you just kind of critiquing, complaining and whinging a little bit about, you know, there's not enough people around, you know, with truth or integrity or love or honor or whatever it might be. Yeah, so I'm interested to see what is it that people are going to type down answering that question. I might ask that question again a little bit later when people get a bit spiced up, because we're just getting a little bit warm here. So we've got an awesome session tonight. So look, this person, you know, deserves everything that she's getting, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, because that's how we roll. Like whatever it is we're putting out there, that's what we're getting back. So look, put hashtag FF if financial freedom is for you. And do we have an exciting perspective to give you on financial freedom? Oh my goodness, I'm excited about that. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, awesome, Laurie. Yeah, good, nice. Oh, you went for 4. Yeah, so put that in there. You know, put your comments in there. So if people are just watching right now, what's the top 3 value? What's the top 3 things you value in your life? Top 3 things that you value. Yeah, it's interesting to get people's perspective on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into this because it's super awesome. So let's give it a countdown. 5, 4, 3. Oh no, 3 like this, yeah? 2, 1. Excellent. Thank you and welcome to Real Life Money Monday. Do we have an exciting episode for you this evening? We are going to be asking the question, we're posing the question, how did this 22-year-old achieve financial freedom? Now, there are many facets to this question, which we are going to reveal as we go through this entire Money Monday episode. So make sure that you're going to get all of the goodies that are going to be on offer tonight. And by the way, for the people that watch this entire thing and listen to this entire thing, we have something super special that we're going to be giving away on top of what we normally do, which is you guys getting access to the real life merchandise. But we're going to announce that towards the end of this. So here's the thing. We have this wonderful person here called Louise Lloyd. Now, it's been incredible to watch her journey along the way and almost adopt these different kind of, what do we say, different phases of personality, yeah, which people are afraid to talk about, like different phases of personality as she has grown through her journey. So well, first of all, welcome, Louise, and thank you so much for coming on here to share your wisdom and your journey.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Yeah, so my pleasure. So just tell people a little bit about your background so they can understand, where you're from, a bit of your upbringing. So before we start to get into, how do we start killing it in the property industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've sort of born and raised in West London. After my A-levels, I didn't actually get into my chosen university. So then I was thinking, oh, what else can I do? So I just fell into work, retail to start off with. And then after that, sort of hospitality. I think both sectors are, very low pay. You do have to exchange a lot of time. And then the payback at the end of the month is just not worth it. So I started to look, what else could I get into? At 19, I started to show an interest in the property market, going to free seminars. But I was sort of just trying to dip my toe in the water, which, it doesn't work. You're not going to get results unless you go all in. So it wasn't until around 21 and I got started with you guys, especially with my coach, Lewis, that I thought, right, let's just smash this out. I think I became really disillusioned with the whole concept of work, especially during lockdown. Working on hospitality, it was one of the industry's biggest, that was most hit. So, straight onto furlough. So I was getting 80% of what was already part-time wages. It just wasn't good. So I thought, this is my chance to turn things around. So I took my company, which was actually dormant. So it was set up, but it just wasn't trading. Took it out of dormancy like April of last year. So in the height of the whole first lockdown, really. And just thought, right, we're going to make it work, and we just hit the ground running from there.
That's awesome. And just, if I remember correctly, it's just as you were saying that, I think it's coming back to me now, because I think, you actually was kind enough to give us a little bit of a video of why you came to one of the events. Was it the one that was on the 30th of, when was that? March in 2019 in Ibis in London.
In London. Do you know? Yeah, I think so. My first experience with real life was actually 2019. Yeah, but at the time, I sort of just, again, like, well, I wasn't ready to commit, and I wasn't ready to join, and I didn't think I could, A, afford it, or B, I wasn't ready for it. But then after that, I was following other people in the community, which in that year that I didn't do anything, achieved a lot. And I thought, gosh, I can't afford not to be part of this group. And I came back. And true to your word, Mark, the prices were higher. But, it was just such an incredible event. And after that event, I was like, right, we're going to have to make it work. I have to get started with this group. And coaching as well was so vital for me, especially when you're operating independently. You have no soundboard, and it's easy to sort of give up. you need that person on, you know, the end of the phone to kind of pick you up and make you see it from a different perspective. It's so easy when you get setbacks to dramatize it and think, oh, it doesn't work. And it's so important to have a coach just to bring you back to, right, what's actually happening here and how can we get past it. And I think that's probably been testament to sort of my success, is essentially the coaching and just keep picking myself up, dusting off my knees and cracking on again.
Yeah, good. And we want to get into the crux of like, how do you make a business work? How do you start getting the income? How do you then take it to the next level while you're drawing on that income to serve your standard of living? We're going to get onto that. But first of all, you said a couple of very interesting things. The first thing that you said is, I knew I wasn't ready. So what was the difference from not being ready versus being ready?
I just don't know. I mean, there is always a bit of ego, isn't there, involved, where you think, oh, potentially I could do this independently, or I might be able to learn this on my own, online, or through a book. And part of you does think that's definitely the cheaper route. Well, you say so, but then the cost you pay by taking yourself out the game in terms of loss of potential earnings is massive. So I think back then I was planning on trying it myself independently. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. And because I'd already had a bit of training at that point, but it wasn't the best, with like a different company. We won't name them, but and then I just think that maybe made me a bit off it. Also, yeah, I think the trigger point for me was just the whole lockdown and the whole being put on furlough. And by this point, you know, having a dormant company, I sort of had to file for the end of the year. I had to file dormant accounts, and it was just a bit upsetting because I was like, oh, I've set this company up and I've just had to file the first year as dormant. You know, this is not what I intended for myself. So then I was just like, no, we're going to take it out of dormancy, because like I know that I can do something with this company, and I'm sort of worth a lot more than what, you know, any other company values me at per hour. And I just thought, you know, I'm better than that, really.
Yeah, that's good. So what would you, if you were to summarize in a short sentence, what was the difference between being not ready to becoming ready?
Being open, really open to the process, open to what you don't know. You know, whenever you're entering into any sort of new community or any form of training, you can't have any ego or anything, you know, or not even or fear. Like, it's sometimes a combination. You just got to be completely open to learning new things, meeting new people, and you are gonna maybe not know everything at first, but you know, get to network and learn it from other people. So yeah, essentially, difference of being not ready to ready. Just come with an open mind, and ready to commit all in. It can't, you know, previously I was thinking about all other different options, like, oh, should I even look into trading, or maybe should I work my way up the corporate ladder? And there was, or should I just go back to higher education? There were so many options. I was reluctant to go 100% on everything, on any of it. And then it got to the stage where I was like, no, I'm ready to go 100% this on this and this only. And that's when I got the results, really.
That's good. Excellent. So I think we got a question from a viewer here. So let me just read that out for the people who are only listening, yeah, on the podcast here. But the whole thing is not coming up. So let me just read it to you. So, okay, massive realization was you realizing you valued yourself more than your employer valued you. But how did you come to that realization? What was the trigger point, or what was the catalyst?
Oh, right. It's just a few little things, really. I guess when there's certain months where you work a lot of hours, and then when the pay packet comes in, it's just a bit underwhelming. I think in hospitality, especially in the events industry, you know, a lot of events and whatnot would happen on a Friday or a Saturday, Sunday, So it's like I would be working when a lot of my network and my friends and family would be socializing, so I'd have to miss out on certain things just to be working. Sort of late nights, finishing late nights, and one time, can't remember what year, I worked New Year's, and then everyone had to celebrate, and I was just working, and then on my way home on the train at probably 3 a.m. and then I was just a bit like, right, this is it, Louise. You know, you're not doing this again. This is not how you're going to sort of start your year. And then you're not treated too well in the hospitality and retail sector. Some customers are nice, but then some people do treat you like you're off their shoe, which I just didn't take kindly to, really. So basically just a combination of just feeling undervalued is the main thing, if I was to summarize. Just being undervalued, mainly.
So okay, so I think it's got a series of things that eventually, you know, putting yourself in that position, or like you were forced to be in that position through furlough and lockdown and all of that, to just say, hey, listen, you've got to take the other route. I mean, that message was probably hitting you in the face all along.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, you know, you're forced to do it. I see many people wait for that to be forced rather than just taking the leap of faith. But let's just go back to this, because you talked about, you know, training, and you talked about you know, being open-minded and all the rest of it, but and like going all in, and I totally agree with you. But what about, because I was like this too, and I'm sure you were, and I'm sure other people are, like, what about all that skepticism of, yeah, but these people, you know, are scamming, and like, you know, what if it don't work? This can't be real. What if it's just their friend saying, oh, they got these results? Like, how did you overcome that? Or what was your journey mentally? Because that's a tough one, I see, for a lot of people, because people are like, for 2 years they kind of follow and they're not sure, you know, and they're umming and ahhing, and then, like you say, like, they look back and go, wow, like, listen, what I've done now in this year, I could have had it 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it is difficult when no one in your network is doing what you want to do, because it's hard for you to really think it's possible. You know, when no one in your family or your friends are doing, you know, property, then it is a bit of a difficult one to even fathom that you could possibly do it. I think with property in general, there's this stigma that you need, you know, a lot of money to start out, and you can't start from nothing and work your way up. In terms of, you know, the concept of, I don't know, scamming, I guess people are so used to your bog standard salary and what should be fair earnings, that when you earn anything above average, people are quick to question it. But fundamentally, it's just the fact that the minute you stop exchanging your time for money, then your income is almost limitless to an extent, because, you know, the whole concept of exchanging your time, everyone's got a limited amount of time, so therefore your income's limited. When you're an entrepreneur, you outsource, you delegate, and systemize, so eventually you can step out of certain business and deals, free up your time, and then just go again and rinse and repeat, and that's how your income grows. And that's essentially how it works for a lot of people. But people that are still stuck in that worker mentality, I guess it might just be difficult for them to understand.
Yeah. And like you say, sometimes the difficulty is being around those people, and people have got this whole stigma around, and something that changed my life, and I'll tell you exactly who said it, and it changed my life, and it was like the pay to play, like pay for a seat at the table. Now, from where I grew up, and like my peer group that I grew up around was all like, that's insane. Why would you pay to be, you know, somewhere? Why would you pay to sit at a table with just some other people? You know, but I tell you what it was. It was when I started following Grant Cardone, and I'd already paid for, you know, a couple of bits of training from him. I was watching a video, and he said, it wasn't even a video. It was like a, you know, there's quote things. He said seven things that, you know, changed my life or made me rich or something like that. 7 things. And one of the things was the pay to play network. Yeah, like investing in the pay to play, paying for a seat at the table, something to that effect. That changed my perspective massively, because I was like, either way, I'm going to pay. Either way, I'm going to pay because I missed the opportunity. And people think if they do nothing, they don't lose any money. Because they think, oh, I'm still getting my salary, or I'm still living my life. At least I'm not, dying or dragging my ass. I mean, some people are, but, at least that's not happening to me. So then they'll say, oh, it doesn't cost me anything. But they don't realize that, oh, wow, I could have been making £10,000 a month with just 12 months investment of, hitting the road, following the process. That's 120 grand a year. Oh yeah, but I make 120 grand a year in my corporate salary, my corporate job, or, I want to get to director, or I want this title, or I want that, accomplishment, which is fine also. And I'm not against that stuff. But at the end of the day, one day, either you're going to stop working and they'll stop paying you, or they're going to tell you you're no longer required. Because that happens. I mean, how many people were made redundant this, last 18 to 24 months? Incredible amount. People who are good at the job as well, which, by the way, if there's anyone who is super good at their job, reach out, because not only do we have positions, especially in construction. By the way, if you're in construction and you're multi-skilled, like a multi-skilled joiner, multi-skilled in terms of you can put your hand to a few things, then reach out to me, direct message me. I'll hook you up with our team. We're expanding massively. Also, if you're an awesome superstar personal assistant, who wants to work, and connect the teams together, then, reach out to us. If you want to work in an awesome customer success team, like the team that makes sure our customers have success, then also do that as well. Yeah. Oh, if you're in marketing, oh my goodness, we're looking for people in marketing. Why? Because it's not just my word, although I say it as well, but people say we are the best. The problem is not enough people know about us. Yeah. And it comes back down to this situation where, is it the real deal or not? How can someone just say they're the best? Well, I don't. Well, I do. But like at the same time, we have the highest success rate out there. To all the research and all the data that we can gather, we have the highest success rate. Why? Because we don't just leave people alone. And it comes back to a question that I've got for you when we get into your deals, Louise. But it's like, people, what would you say about, like, all these people that say, hey, listen, if people don't take action, what can I do? If you're a bad student, you're a bad student. What do you say about that?
In what sense? Sorry, just to clarify. So when people aren't willing to take action?
Well, here's the thing. Like, people say, like, hey, you paid for this program, but you didn't take action. So, that's your problem because you didn't take action on
it. It depends. I mean, nowadays, I am very much a believer of, look, self-accountability. You can't rely on anyone to hold your hand. Even if you literally paid them to, you still can't rely on them to hold your hand. The minute you take responsibility for everything, whether it's things that go right or wrong, that's when you bring it all back into your own control, and that's how you sort of move on from certain situations. The minute you start blaming, then therefore you're saying, oh, it's out of my control, and then you sort of convince yourself you can't resolve it then. So yeah, that's my approach. I mean, there was a time where I would maybe say, like, oh, if I pay for something, I would expect it to get me somewhere. But it's one thing paying and putting skin in the game, but it's another thing actually committing to playing the game you've paid to play, if that makes sense. So
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I like that, and I think that's awesome. I mean, what you just said there is very inspiring, and people should be taking note of what you just said there. And in addition to that, the way I see it is there are no bad students, only bad teachers. And the difference is someone who may or may not have done something, because that's the case, may or may not have done something, but let's just say in the best case scenario, yes, they have done something. That does not necessarily mean they are able to facilitate or teach or train or coach, whatever you want to call it, another person, especially a group of people or an entire community. That level of leadership is totally different. You know, just because you're the best sales person doesn't make you the best sales manager. Just because you're the best footballer doesn't make you the best football manager or football coach. You know, so being someone who is able to facilitate and transfer the ability to do something, not just the kind of information. You know, anyone can just talk information or read a book. Yeah, but what about the other way around, where it's like, I'm not just done it and I'm trying to teach someone, I'm actually someone who can teach someone, and I've done it myself as well. You know, they're the people that you want to surround yourself with, because anybody who's puts it on, because here's the thing about action. Yeah, everybody's got to take action, and someone's doing some level of action, even if it's no action, that is a state of action, although we call it no action. So everybody's doing that anyway. Question is, you stuck around long enough, which means I put this down to showing up. So there's two things that are going to happen in every scenario. Two things are going to happen. Number one is you're going to show up. Either way, you're showing up. And I'll tell you the difference, but let me tell you the other thing. The other thing is you're going to pay. So in any scenario, those two things are going to happen. You're going to pay and you're going to show up. So when things are not going well, yeah, you're surrounded by your problems, so you've got to show up. And also concurrently, you're going to pay. You're going to pay the price in time, energy, money, belief, confidence, and all of that. You will pay dramatically in all of those areas. But let's just put it down to money. So you're going to pay the money, making the mistakes, loss of earnings, loss of opportunity, you know, actual loss of money, and all of that. And you're going to have to show up to deal with it, because if you go bankrupt, you have to move a job, you have to move house, you have to lower your standard of living. That's you showing up to deal with that problem. You know, I'm not saying people are going to show up in style, but they are showing up. Yeah. So then the other side is, I'm going to invest the money, because either way I'm going to pay. So I'm going to invest the money. I'm going to get around people. I'm going to get the job done properly. Like, I look at this way. When I don't want to just negotiate the lowest price. I want to pay the price I know I'm getting a good result. I want to pay the build team. I want to pay the broker. I want to pay my investor to get the desired result. I want to pay a coach, a mentor, a trainer, because then I'm paying, because either way I'm going to pay anyway. And then I've got to show up. So this whole thing about, oh, they didn't take action is garbage. Because in the beginning, you was taking a level of action, but like for you to get the results previous to now, which we're going to get into on how you did that, is the fact that you kept showing up. And you were paying either way.
Yeah.
When you was dabbling your toe, like that day we all was, dipping your toe in, you were paying. And now you're still paying. And both times you were showing up. So, and it was only because you kept showing up, you were enabled through coaching, through mentoring, through training, through a powerful peer group, a network of people that were like, wow, this has got to be like that tipping point. You know, people have been asking the question. Let me just try and help you a little bit. I think the tipping point was, this is possible.
Yeah.
This can be done. That's the tipping point where people go for it. Why people hold back? Because they don't believe it's possible. Because if they believe it's possible, they would already be doing it. They'll be chewing your arm off for the opportunity to be a part.
It's so important just to be part of like a network, such as the Real Life Tribe, because you're constantly seeing people smashing out projects, raising finance like every single day. And there's only so many times you can see that before you think, damn, I can do this. You know, so-and-so's doing it, they're doing it, why can't I do it? And that's why it's so important just to, you know, be around it, be in the right circle, shall we say, you know, and be speaking to the right people and observing the right people as well, because sort of the more you see it, the more self-belief, and it's just so important to get deal one over the line, because then once you actually do it once, then you seriously can just do it 10 times over.
So tell us about that. Tell us, what was the turning point that enabled you to get deal one, and how did deal one happen, getting it over the line?
Okay, so the first sort of rent-to-rent deal, so my first 3 deals actually fell through. So what I would do is I convince myself I'm taking action, and I'd do viewings, and sometimes I wouldn't actually follow up with them or whatnot. But then when I actually decided, no, we're doing this, let's make it work, I did a couple of viewings, and I found this, amazing project, like a big HMO that was right in the town centre, a great price. Sort of missed out on that one because so I missed out on the first one just because I wasn't aware of the process fully. I didn't have a guarantor, I didn't have anything, and I was like, missed it. And then a bigger one came along. Again, I wasn't ready to pull the trigger, as you would say. I wasn't ready to commit quickly. And again, because it was so big and it was my first one, I was still a bit cautious, fell through. And then I had a third one, which was for an agent, and then offer accepted, ball was rolling, and then it fell through. And at this point, I was just like, for goodness sake. I actually sort of messaged my coach, Louise, and I was like, Louise, this is it. Let's just finish it here because this doesn't work. But then I was like, do you know what? Let's just crack on. So what I did is, on the back of losing those ones, I found what I call like what's called a rebound deal. So whenever I sort of lose a deal, like I need to get back on it and just find a rebound deal before you dwell in the loss in a sense. So I sort of so what did I do? So I literally I started following up with landlords that I'd messaged previously. That's all I did really. So I just called them. I said, look, hi, it's Louise. We spoke a few weeks ago. Have you got anything? And I just done that through all the previous leads I had. And then two of them sort of came back and said, oh, actually, we didn't have anything back then. We've got something now. Are you interested? And then they turned out to be deals 1 and 2. And then both those landlords have now gone on to give me 2 more on top of those ones. So that, in losing those first initial deals, you could say me dusting myself off and cracking on and finding the rebound deals has led to 6 deals.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So like, let's just give the end result first. So how many rent-to-rent deals have you done now since all of that?
So we're at 10 now.
10. And how long did it take you to do that since you got your first one?
It's not even 12 months really. It's just shy of 12 months.
Just shy of 12 months. Yeah. So you did that in like the heat of something that the world has never seen before as well, in terms of how society operates. Yeah. So that's cool. So I know this was something that you said. I always ask people, before they come on, I was like, is there anything you don't want me to ask? And then they tell me, or sometimes they tell me, sometimes they say, no, anything. And when they tell me, then I always know to ask that, because this is real life Monday, where we talk about property, we talk about money, we talk about business, we just talk about life. So there's no shame in making money. And if you got shame in making money, you're going to blow it up somehow. Yeah. So you got to get rid of that shame as quickly as possible. So how much money are you making from all these deals now?
When they're all fully let, sort of no voids, nothing, then overall the business does about $5,000 net a month.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And that you went from being on furlough to now owning a business that makes $5,000 profit.
Yeah, that's literally, the furlough money was about £500. So you could say I 10x my income in that 12 months.
You how much?
10x it.
10x. Yes. Someone tag Grant Cardone. Say, hey, look, hey, the real life tribe is 10xing. Yeah, 10xing. Yeah. Net in a year. Oh,
no, per month.
Yeah, I think Lewis is just mixed up with in a year, as in like you achieve in a year. That's why. That's why.
Month just wouldn't cut it.
Yeah, that's it. So that's good. So look, it's possible. That's what people need to know, that it's possible to do it. So now let's talk about, how did this 22-year-old reach financial freedom? I tell you something, Louise, I wish I was hanging about a real life event when I was 19. When did you say 20, 21 was it?
Yeah, I think my first ever one I went to, I must have been 20. and then sort of 21 when I actually finally, you know, pulled the trigger and joined.
I'm remembering more now. I think in your video, and if you don't remember, we could fish it out. I think you said after the event, we were just like taking, you know, feedback from people, and you said, "Yeah, I came to the event. It was brilliant. Yeah, and I wasn't even going to come."
Yeah, I think. Oh, do you know? I'd love to see that actually, Mark. A video from the first ever event I went to. Gosh, I think. Yeah, I probably was late because I was the old me back then. To be honest, I still need to work on punctuality. But yeah, I think I was late, and I sort of just thought, no, we still go. But it's weird how things all plan out. And obviously, I was just meant to go there and meet you guys and get started with the real life group and with my coach Lewis. It all sort of fell into place.
Yeah. And here's the thing, many people, they say, you know, now's not the right time, you know, it'll be the right time after, and then insert whatever event or reason or excuse. I'm getting married, after I've started my new job, after I've settled in my new home, after I've cleared my debt, you know, all of this stuff that, you know, they insert whatever event it is. And then after the summer, after Christmas, after my birthday, and like it just never happens. Or they'll say, oh, you know what, it's a bit inconvenient, it's too far away, I'm not going to be able to go there. And you didn't have this excuse, but other people sometimes, you know, oh, childcare, how do I get it? And you've just been to a 4-day event recently where you've seen people are like, you know, organizing childcare to last over the 4, 5, 6 days, however long they travel, people coming from different countries, you know, people literally just doing whatever it takes to be there. And then it shows in the program. But I would say the difference I've seen from you is that person sitting there wanting to absorb, and you've always been hungry for the information, but turning that information into practical and actually making it practical, which I know all the training does, which I know the coaching does, and everybody in the tribe, you know, will, like, you just can't hang around these people for too long. Either you stop hanging around, or you know, you execute, because it's not just about taking action, because even sitting on the couch turning Netflix on, that's action. Yeah. And it's like, you've got to show up enough until you can remove these mental barriers, because it was just the mental barriers. You know, I'm asking the question, what's the difference between not ready and ready? It's the mental barrier. So many people convince themselves, which is why I go in that freezing cold swimming pool every day, because I got to overcome my mental barriers. Why else? I miss out on the deals. I miss out on the multi-million-pound opportunities that are literally right there before us. You know, they're not just there for me just because I have the experience. They're not just there for Louise. They're not just there for all the other people, you know, who you see out there, the Richard Bransons and the Elon Musks. They're not just there for them. They're there for everybody. Yeah, they're there for everybody as long as you can overcome the mental barriers. That's why we are the #1 property and mindset group. I don't even know what you're going to call it. It's more like a club.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many people just putting content and like education and theory out there, but you can so easily get bogged down in that sort of thing for years, for absolutely years. And there's always something new to learn. And if you're just going to say, "Oh, I'll do it when I'm ready," and then you're always going to be like, "Oh, but I need to learn this first," and then you just got to start taking action, and you learn the most when you're actually doing it. And you're overcoming things, then you sort of learn, you adapt, and that's when you learn the most. Like, okay, to an extent, you should be knowledgeable on what you're doing, and you should be competent and compliant, but at the same time, you're always not gonna. There's always going to be a bit of doubt, like, am I ready? But sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and go for it, because if you've got the belief, then that's almost enough to get you through it always, because, you know, you have this saying, it's not over till it's over. So it's like, even if hurdles come up, like, you don't fail unless you absolutely give up. So you would never be a failure if you're still continue to sort of push forward.
And if you think about it, there isn't even any give up. It's just a different level of existence. You know, so what level do you want to exist in this life? You want to live in squalor? And but Mark, it's not my fault. I was born into this family. Listen, everyone's born into the family for a reason. I used to blame my parents for years until I realized that, well, their life is here to show me that it's my choice to break out of that. Yeah, and I've seen hundreds and thousands of other people do the same as well. Just make that decision. Guys, it starts with a decision. A moment of decision will literally change your life, your family's life, your future children's life, your future partner's life, the future community that you become a part of, because people move around and they start associating with different people, but you become like an asset, not a liability. You're an asset to yourself and society and the people around you, not a liability. You're not sucking people dry through, feeling sorry for yourself and always finding reasons. You're actually finding a way. You're finding a way to make it happen. And the money is fantastic, but you'll realize it's not always about the money. It's about enjoying the chase. I have this goal to have over 20 million people free financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually by 2037. I don't even know how I'm going to measure that, but it's the pursuit of it that I love. It's the helping the people that I love. It's creating businesses, whether they're my employees, whether are contractors, whether they're extended team, whether they're whatever they are. Yeah, it's just, I want to impact people's lives. I want people free. Last thing I want to say on financial freedom, by the way. So financial freedom, very quickly, listen up, guys, because you're going to need to know this, especially if you're going to come to Real Life Property Wealth, which is a 2-day program, and you're in search of this financial freedom. You're going to know what it is. Because most people say, well, if I get passive income, whatever that is, to outweigh my expenses, then I'm financially free. So first of all, what's passive? Passive insinuates, something to be like systemized, something to be like, if you actually Google the word passive, all it actually comes up with scenarios or explanations of like passive aggressive and things like that. So if you got a passive income, you still got to maintain that. That's still got to happen. If you're just going to hand it over to someone, your money, without any control or out any diligence, which people do, by the way, to people like me and Louise and other people, they hand money to us, and then we're the ones that do the work to be able to pay them back a return on their investment. That's a passive, but that has to be still maintained. They have to find someone who's awesome that can make sure that happens. If I'm going to have passive income through property, which I have lots of, and Louise does too, then that has to be maintained. But now let's say, does that mean if I want to raise my standard of living that I now become unfinancially free?
No.
Does that mean now I'm not financially free anymore? Because, well, I did earn 5K and my living standard was 4K, so I'm financially free. But now I want to spend 10K a month, so I'm not financially free anymore. Is that what it means, guys? Is that what it means? I'm not sure. So with my definition, I'm not saying this is for everyone. My definition of financial freedom is that I can solve the money problem. If I have a money problem, I can solve it. If I have to increase my standard of living, it costs me 20K to live the level of existence that I want, that I can solve that problem and get to that level. That makes me financially free. Robert Kiyosaki says that your financial IQ is measured on what size money problem. And the majority of Americans, their financial IQ is 400. Why? Because most of them have $400 in the bank. He says he can solve $100 million problem, which makes his financial IQ 100 million. I agree with that. I'm financially free when I can solve the money problem in front of me. I lost £46,000 not long ago, and that was a money problem. And I solved that money problem not by whinging and crying about it, but go and make 10 times more. By putting a system in to make sure, hey, let's go scale this, and then let's look on what my lesson is so I can solve that problem. Doesn't make me not financially free if I want to raise my standard of living. Do you know what I'm saying, Louise?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's a different way of looking at it, right? Freedom of choice. Absolutely. So that's my goal. I want that to happen, but it's the chase of it. So when we train people at these training events, it's like, guys, it's not the get to goal. It's not like I'm going to just, I want to make £1,000 passive income or anything like that. It's like, you got to enjoy. And that's why most people so-called fail, because they go to this state of non-action, which is still action. They go to the state of non-action. And what's that state of non-action? That state of non-action is where they then are not getting anything out of it. Yeah, they're not, making it happen. They're not putting themselves forward, and they stop showing up there. So then, because they stop showing up there, now they have to go and show up in the job that they hate, live in the level of existence that they either settled for or admit they hate. But most people don't admit they don't like it, or they're not happy with it, or something feels out of alignment. They're like, there's more to me. Yeah, but they settle for it, right? So you go show up there instead. So either way, you're going to show up, either way, you're going to pay. So awesome. So so we're going to give something away. I'm going to give you something super awesome for the people who are on here. I'm going to give you something. Would you want something? You want something for free, guys? Put it in the comments. Let me know. It's awesome. By the way, if you want more, who wants to find more deals in this so-called competitive market? Yeah, would you like some tips on how to do that? Because I'm going to give you something right after Louise gives us so narrow down, or what's your message to the people out there based on your life experience? If you're going to be giving some motivational speech, you're in front of thousands of people right now. You've got 15 seconds. What is it you're going to say?
15 seconds, gosh. Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you put your mind to it. It's not necessarily the easiest route, but usually the least comfortable route initially is the most rewarding. You got to be careful of the comfort zone, because it's comfortable for a period of time, but there's no growth in it. So I would just say get uncomfortable and get used to being uncomfortable, because at least then you're always growing. If you're growing as an individual, then the impact you're having and the money you're making, that's gonna grow in correlation to that.
Nice. I will give that a round of applause. Yeah, excellent. Good job. So look, I do have one more question for you. Yeah, I do have one more question for you. So I don't know if my team is on here going to be giving me the people who need to receive the merchandise. If not, then we will reach out to the person afterwards, as always. So we'll give that a moment. So if they come up, I want to give you something for free, and then I'm going to ask Louise the last question here. Yeah. And what it is, it's right there in the comments. So check this out. It's five ways that you, like, by adopting these 5 ways, you will increase considerably the ability to get deals right now in this current market. And by the way, this is a workbook. This is not like what Louise is saying. You can't just have some theory and hope that something's going to change because you read some words. The words are directions. So take the direction through the workbook, make sure you get these things nailed down. And once you do that, then you're going to receive some feedback. And further feedback can be taken by, asking questions, getting a coach, going to training, whatever. That's the further feedback that you get, or make sense of the feedback from there. So make sure that you get that. And you start doing that there, right there, that link, and send that link to whoever you think is valuable, or they value wanting to find deals. Because Louise, you said, you just got to get that first deal over the line. So the first thing you got to do is you got to start get the mechanisms of what it's going to take to get those deals. Yeah, excellent. So I've got a seriously important question to ask you, Louise, that we can never, ever, ever let people forget, that they've got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
Because it's the only way to discover your true potential.
Yes, there you go. Some people are asking what link is the reallifegroup.org/deals/get me my deals. No, it's just /deals, but get me my deals would have been better. Yeah, so awesome. Thank you so much for coming on here, Louise. I think you've inspired many people. We've had some awesome comments here this evening. What a fabulous Money Monday episode it has been. Super excited to watch you grow even further, Louise, with all that you're doing and all the positions you're putting yourself into to get uncomfortable and keep progressing and all the rest of it. And now really loving the journey, no matter how uncomfortable you may think it is. It's actually the more comfortable journey, if you ask me.
True. That is true.
Yeah.
No, thank you for having me on. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in and commented. I really appreciate it. And yeah, keep in touch, guys. Feel free to drop me a message.
Awesome. Great stuff. You heard it from Louise first. And I'm going to tell you again, guys, never forget that you've got to do the right thing for the right reason, because that is the only way that you will discover your true potential.